Show me your moves.
All right, we're going in.
Here we go.
All right, and nope, that's not your Spidey sense tingling. It's another episode of Geek Life, your source for all the nerdy news you need to know. Welcome to episode 49. I am your host, the friendly neighborhood's bisexual strip streamer, The Dodd, and joining me today with the release of his new single out on Spotify, the DJ Geek Life himself, KJ Fox McCloud, aka Kev. How are you doing today, Kev?
Doing fantastic, Dad. Yeah. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year. And emerging from the fluffy, stuffy avalanche in the coziest corner of all of the world, the mod and the squad, the littlest of Nellies. How are you doing today, littlest Nelly?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here. It's been a long time. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, good to have you. We're having a little bit of lag issues on the video feed here, but hopefully you guys can hear us perfectly well. But how have you guys been surviving the post-re-apocalypse, right? Because Omicron's to send us through another apocalypse again when we're canceling shit, right? So how are you guys surviving the post-re-apocalypse?
I feel like... Oh, go for it, Kev. Do it.
Oh, I was going to say same old, right? Like, it just feels like... I don't remember a time before COVID, so it just feels like this is life.
This is no longer the new normal. It's kind of the outdated
the normal.
The normal. What about you, little Snelly? How have you been surviving?
I tried really, really hard to learn my lesson.
To learn your lesson?
Live for 2 weeks.
To learn your lesson on what exactly? Hold on, you cut out for a second.
Oh, no. When we all thought we were going to have a normal life 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden the Delta variant was there. Right. And we were like, oh, no. And my mental health went all the way down. I tried really, really hard from that lesson with the Omarion virus, and I've decided to make way more jokes about it. Way more jokes.
Well, there you go. There you go. That's for me. I have been playing a lot of Century Age of Ashes. It's a new free game. I played it on Free Game Friday a couple weeks ago, and it is a hell of a whole lot of fun. Dogfighting dragons. Gotta absolutely love that. Watching a little bit of Book of Boba Fett, finishing up Hawkeye. Everything about that was really, really good and satisfying. Plus, there's a lot of amazing movies out there right now with the oh yeah, with No Way Home, Matrix Reloaded. There's a lot to see out in theaters. So I feel like this part of the apocalypse has been pretty good, at least entertainment wise, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I've watched Encanto like 4 times, and I'm not upset about it.
There we go. Thank you for Gonzo Gone Live coming in with a gifted sub for Quarleen Henzel. Thank you so much there.
Two backwards Batman characters.
Yeah, for real. Okay.
Roos and Quarley.
Roos and Quarley. Yeah, there's it would be funny if there was some kind of connection there, right?
Yeah.
If you're new to the show, we are a 2.5-hour mashup of all the pop culture news you know and love. We talk about all of your favorite TV, video games, movies, and which insurrectionists are voice actors on your favorite cartoons. If you like what you see or hear on the show tonight, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to all of our social media. There's a LinkTree in our bio for even more content. You can follow any of us on any of our personal socials. You can find me at Roos Bane on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. Kev, where can they find you?
Utterly awesome. It's in my name box down there.
And Littlest Nelly, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at littlest_Nelly. And I also just popped all of the socials in link form in chat because I learned how to use Chatbox.
There you go. We've got a great show planned for you guys. Kev, why don't you hit us with that rundown?
Yes, this is the rundown with all the power and none of the responsibility. First up, I love that. We've got a new year and new court dates taking over our headlines. Not us, though. Don't worry. We're fine. Along with some pretty sweet news on on-time shows and movies. And for our top story, we've got a mini moment of zen when we count down our top free games from Friday of the year. Then we'll be diving deeper then a newscaster coming up with excuses for the labor shortage when we look at demographic dependencies, how they win, how they fail, and the tidal wave of impacts happening now. To top it all off, our top 10 tonight is the top 10 movie franchises. Which movies built the universe we can care enough about and put on the list? You'll have to find out later. The answers are coming up, but first, can I get a fancy doodle for this doodly new year?
Doodle it! Oh, doodle it, Danny, in chat! Dilly Dandy?
Yeah.
I can't really see it, but it looks really cool. I like our new emotes, y'all. Okay, so we are in for the headlines. What are our top stories? Quite a few, because it's been a bit since we've had the show. But first up, Delilah S. Dawson announced on Twitter that she is writing a new book for Captain Phasma that gives the character what she describes as, quote, Mad Max Fury Road meets Star Wars Legends kind of storyline, post the fiery death hole fall that she had in her fight with Finn. Jay Johnston, the voice of Jimmy Pesto Burgers formerly, is officially banned from the show after reports of his involvement in the January 6th Capitol insurrections. So just a huge shout out to Bob's Burgers for a more efficient ousting than anything that's ever happened in the government. Kudos. Reopening Blues puts Disneyland in hot water with a new class action lawsuit over fraudulent blackout dates for Magic Key pass holders. The parks were found to be marking dates as sold out for Magic Key holders who buy the huge money pass holder under the opinion that they blackout dates, but they were still selling single day passes to outside buyers. So fraud, essentially. Riot Games has finally reached a settlement for $100 in their gender discrimination lawsuit. This is a huge milestone in gender discrimination lawsuits, period, but also in the continued protests and walkouts among the Activision and Blizzard offices. Black Adam is officially confirmed to be post-production.
Post-production.
Very post-production? Is that what I said?
Yes. Okay. No, in pre-production, sorry. No, post-production, you're right, post-production, my fault.
Yep. It's one of the few films with an anticipated release date for this year that we think is actually going to be on time for any various reasons. That's coming out at the end of July in 2022. This film introduces Black Adam, Atom Smasher, Cyclone, wildly stacked, which sounds a bit like they're kind of looking at Marvel and whatever's happening there. And then Umbrella Academy has released their season 3 sort of teaser online, just in the form of posters featuring their rival of Sparrow Academy, most notably, and my favorite, the character Cube. So far, he's just a box, and I love him. And that's not all for the news that we have this week. Our top story this week is actually our own story. We'll be taking a look back at our favorite free games of the year. Dodd, will you do us the honor?
I will. I absolutely will. So, first off, let's talk a little bit about some of these headlines, though. First off, I heard about Jimmy Pesto was one of my favorite headlines of this week, right? Because, honestly, as Little Snelly put out, it was swifter than anything in our government had done, right? They honestly, and the next day on Twitter, they had this great image of Jimmy Pesto's place with now hiring on the front of it.
Damn. It was pretty cute.
Do you think there's any way they could have done this better, Little Snelly?
I'll be really, really excited to see their first episode that they come out with, and then see if they kind of are tongue-in-cheek and talk about it a little bit. I think even better. But the reality is they ousted Jimmy Pesto before the world could even get up in arms about the fact that he was in the cast. We heard about him being banned at the same time. So that was pretty cool.
We heard about him being banned at the same time that what was that? One more time, you cut out for a second.
That he was being involved in the insurrection. That was the same news that I got at the same time, and that was really, really exciting.
Yeah, it is obviously. This happened in January, and we're talking about this literally in the first month of 2021. So it took literally a year to find out exactly who he was. He covered most of his face during the whole thing, but so I think that there was. I mean, it could have happened quicker, but there was a lot of people there, so I'm glad that you know, the more pictures get circulated around and the more people get there. I mean, honestly, it's mind blowing to me that there's a prominent figure out in Hollywood that is that stupid to be caught up in the insurrection. Like, is that just me? Is that just kind of surprising to anyone else in general? Kev, are you kind of surprised that that Jay Johnson was there?
I mean, there's a lot of people, and I get it. Like, he's, I guess, like a minor celebrity. I don't know. Like, I don't know his work besides Bob's Burgers, and honestly, I didn't know who he was until the insurrection. So, I mean, there's a lot of people there that are like just were willing to risk it all. Doctors, public.
I feel like Jay Johnson's been in some other stuff before. I'm gonna look up his IMDb real quick.
His name sounds familiar. But
yeah, I mean, he was in Not Another Teen Movie and Men in Black. Sounds like
Men in Black
characters.
Yeah. I've seen him a lot and things before that I think that that he's been in, but he's always been kind of a minor character. And like, I don't know, like he'd be one of those people that if I was scrolling through on a comedy special that I've seen enough in the background thing that I might have actually like looked into the comedy special to see what he was about, but I've never done that before for him or anything else like that. Now I would have probably found out pretty quickly that he's a shithead. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know if they make that obvious or not, but it is a little bit surprising to me to see such a prominent figure, because I always thought it was these just intellectually just honestly just like the crazy people on Facebook that you see out there but there's a lot of people that really, like, people that did have prominent careers that did risk a lot going there, so I think that was a bit surprising to me. Jim Incubus in the chat says Jimmy Pesto sounds like a monster name. It's him, Freddy Three Fingers, Billy the Paperboy, mobster. Yeah. But what do you guys think about this class action lawsuit going on against Disney? Littlest Nelly, I bet you have some feelings.
I have a lot of opinions because I think it's greedy. I think it's because they had to limit capacity in the parks, and so they wanted the Magic Key holders have already paid their price, right? They're not going to add any more money, but I think they wanted more people to bring in more money, aka the single pass holders, who on average also bit more in a little bit more free money for merchandise, which is a huge moneymaker for them. So I'm really glad that enough people took notice and are actually doing something about it. Disney makes more than enough money. They don't have to cheat people out like this. It's also unclear so far if this is going to affect all of the Disney parks, or if this is specifically Disneyland. Yeah, that's still being like in discovery in the lawsuit. So we'll see how big this ends up being. Interesting.
With Black Adam being confirmed in post-production, do you have any feelings? Are you excited to see this movie, Kev? I mean, we got The Rock as Black Adam. We've been seeing this being drummed up for quite a long time, right? I can't remember when this was first announced, but it's got to be like somewhere in like 2017 or 2018 was when they announced like that The Rock was going to play Black Adam.
It was like right before Shazam came out, I think.
Right. It was even before that. Are you excited to see Rock as Black Adam and excited to know that this film's already in post-production?
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know a lot about Black Adam or like the whole Shazam universe. I actually still haven't seen the Shazam movie, to be honest. But I've heard good things about it. So I mean, I feel like
the Shazam movie. It's a good Christmas movie. You missed the time of year to watch it.
I know. But I feel like a lot of the better DC movies have been like things that aren't Batman and Superman. So I mean, it could be something promising, right?
Yeah, especially with Peacemaker kind of helping flesh out the DC universe as well. Seeing if they can maybe make something that can compete
Suicide
with the Marvel
Squad on
Cinematic Universe
finally.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was hilarious. Watched it with my mom. She was dying laughing.
The Suicide Squad a lot better than Suicide Squad. I'll say that much.
Yes.
I forget which one is which. I really wish that they had not named it that way. It is not good for me.
I know, right? Any feelings on this Riot Games finally reaching this 100 million settlement in the gender discrimination lawsuit between well, it's Riot Games and Activision Blizzard as well, or both companies?
Yes.
Little
No,
Snelly?
no, no.
Sorry, I was asking Little Snelly. My bad.
Yeah, sorry, I got you.
Good. I'm excited. I mean, we live in Austin. They have offices. I'm really in and out of their offices who have had not great things to say upon leaving, all of which typically are femme or queer people. So I'm excited that they're paying a bit of money. It kind of feels like paying money and changes based on some of the things that we're hearing from the continued protests that have happened since this has gone into court. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Riot has agreed to even having a third party approved. Agreed to having a third party approved by both company and the California Fair Employment Housing Minority Act to an internal reporting for 3 years. So yeah, it looks like at least you know, the efforts that have been happening over this past couple of years, and some of the kind of even just lingering effects to the labor force that have been happening over this past year in particular. We talk about the Great Resignation and some of its effects, but a lot of the effect of it was a lot of companies and a lot of people in the workforce standing up for what they believe is right, and taking on the kind of the head of the establishment. And I think the sexism in gaming has been a particular movement moving forward. And I mean, honestly, it's something that I love to see get momentum. It's kind of it has like an uncanny valley, too good to be true kind of feeling. Like, what's about to go wrong, right? Like this doesn't usually go this well. Is that just me, or does anybody else share those feelings?
No, I
No,
think you're
just
right.
me?
I think you're on to something. I think it's definitely like this is kind of like the precedence that we need, right? To sort of
Right.
have the snowball keep going, right? Like it's better than I guess where we were before this. So, I think it's just it's a necessary domino that we I guess had been waiting for it to fall for a while, and I think this hopefully sets up something big.
Little Snelly?
I think we're also kind of past the days where a lot of companies can get away with just treating people shitty and being a really, really cool name on a resume. And I think Activision, Blizzard, Riot, whatever, falls into that category, especially based on where their offices are. They're pretty much only in major. Like, if you're getting treated like shit at one of their offices, it's so easy to just go down the street and find a new job doing something similar. So I think they're holding on, and I get it, but I think it's mostly out of necessity and what the right thing to do is for your employees.
Yeah, absolutely. Captain Phasmo getting the Boba Fett treatment. Is this something that we want to see, or something that is just kind of milking more Star Wars? Cap, let's start with you first. What do you think?
I don't know. I feel like at some point it's gonna start getting oversaturated, right? Like, are we gonna have like the Star Wars? I mean, we already have the Star Wars universe.
We are starting to get a lot of bounty hunter shows, right? A lot of like Lone Ranger kind of thing.
I like at one point I think I would like them to focus.
Phasma was really something to be excited about, especially with the Game of Thrones actress in there playing the role. I can't remember her name right off the bat. I'm gonna look it up real quick, but absolutely stellar actress, and Captain Phasma was definitely stiffed when it comes to like Star Wars parts, So if there's one person that should get it, it's them. But also, like, there is a lot. It is starting to get crowded now, right?
Yeah, it's starting. Like at some point, you're gonna start like you do it like jump the shark or beating a dead horse, whatever analogy you want to use for redundancy. But I think it's just like
Gwendolyn Christine.
Yeah. I just don't know. Like her role was like. I don't think it was significant enough, and it wasn't on like lack of her part. It's just poor writing for the sequels, right? Like she had a cool moment in Force Awakens, and then just basically went into the background and had one moment with Finn and
I felt like they were trying to do Boba Fett again. Is that just me?
yes,
Do
no,
you
that's
feel the
what
same way
that's what
too?
it feels like.
I have like a small feeling that it's a little bit Boba Fett-y, but I think it's also important to note that Delilah S. Dawson doesn't write screenplays for Star Wars. She writes books for Star Wars. Like Incubus is mentioning this in the comments that there are tons of books and comics. I have a feeling that this is going to end up being a book-only storyline, and maybe it gets touched on in the background of something. But I don't know. Let me try to see how many of Delilah Dawson's have actually made it to screenplay. Because I don't think a lot of hers have. I think they've been
even if there's not many, it's a great.
Stories.
Even if there isn't many, I mean, it's a great pitch for the writer to try to see if she can. Why not? And I don't blame her for trying. Honestly, with all the popularity of these kind of shows right now, you're gonna miss every shot you don't take, right? So why not? So I think that there is a bit of an aspect of that to it, but it does seem like that it could come at the wrong time when these things really start to get oversaturated. But I don't know, maybe you start getting stuff like Kenobi out there, you start getting some of these other Star Wars projects off the bat, and you don't have as many of them, and then start to, maybe there becomes more room. I don't know.
Maybe
we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it fleshes out more. But either way, I'm excited to see the Star Wars universe grow.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, last but not least, Umbrella Academy Season 3. Where do you think the show goes from here, and how do you think the show can really, the Season 2 was really fantastic. Season 3 is usually a hard season for most shows to get. How do you think Umbrella Academy gets Season 3 right, Little Snelly?
I think they have to really, really play into kind of the playfulness of the characters. The way that they're introducing them feels a lot like they're kind of goofy like Doom Patrol, which makes total sense. Gerard Way is a main writer for Umbrella Academy and also has done a lot of the more recent writing for Doom Patrol with the storylines that we're seeing them put to film right now. I think as long as they stick to what they know, it's going to be really, really good. Without having too many outside influences and trying to absorb the rest of the comic TV universe that we're seeing kind of crowd our TVs right now.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good call. What about you, Kev? What do you think makes Umbrella Academy Season 3 work?
I agree with, just to piggyback off what Nelly was saying. I think they just go more into the quirkiness of the characters.
Yeah.
Just make it fun, but have a good. I think they do well striking a balance between having these characters themselves be the comic relief going against something that is very, detrimental, not just to themselves, but to the entire world. And I think just kind of keeping that balance, and it's going to be interesting because now essentially it's not themselves, but they're going to be fighting kind of something that's analogous to the Umbrella Academy, right? So, yeah, I'm interested to see what happens.
Same. I mean, I think that, again, Gerard Way has had a big influence on both Umbrella Academy and Doom Patrol, and you can see the parallels between the two properties because of it. Yeah. I do worry about shows like this, especially. I worry about the same thing with Doom Patrol too. I mean, we're going through Season 3 of Doom Patrol now, I believe, or Season 2. I'm not sure. I think it's Season 3 now. But and I watched the other day, some of the first episodes of it, and I realized how much Doom Patrol had in the beginning of it, and how much that quirkiness. Yeah. I just don't know if that quirkiness can really it's hard to get through Season 3. So I'm excited about Umbrella Academy, but honestly, I'm trying to keep my expectations that this may be the worst season yet because I just think it's hard to keep something original that's for that long.
That's fair, but I will say I think there are some shows that kind of do well. I guess it all depends, right? For me, I think the difference is Season 1 was kind of a slow burn for me. I couldn't get through it the first time. It took me a second time around to actually get through it. And I think Season 2 was just very phenomenal, very well done. I had my attention the whole time. So I mean, maybe there's hope for Season 3. I think the same way for how Stranger Things was great in the first season because it had this sort of allure of mystery where you didn't know what the fuck was going on, but you were intrigued. The cast was great, and that kind of kept you interested. And then season 2 was just It kind of felt like they were dragging out season 1, and season 3 was just, I think, was them kind of finding their identity again in a different way. So, I mean, I'm like you. I want to hold back kind of reservation and just not be, completely like, oh man, it's going to be probably, it's going to be just as good as season 2. That way, there's not that high of expectations. But yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so long as the main writer Gerard Way is involved, and as long as they keep whatever the machine going that made it successful in the first place, I think it'll be fine.
I think so too. We'll have to see how it works out. I mean, again, I think it's a big challenge for him, but we shall see. I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna check it out. So we'll probably talk about it here by the water cooler at least at some point in time. Well, that'll about wrap it up for our headlines this week. But we have 2 mod segments, of course. We don't have a top story this week, right? Our top story this week is actually going to be replaced by our free games of the year, because we just got a big year behind us, and I just had a year of free games that I played, and I hadn't gotten a chance to talk about a lot of them, and so I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorites. So this year, Geek Life opened a new show, Free Game Friday. The glut of all digital gaming content decided, was it worth the download? I decided, was it worth the download? And I didn't get a chance to tell you guys a lot of them that weren't worth the download. So let's talk about some of them here tonight that absolutely were. And number 5 in this countdown is going to be Jedi Fallen Order. Initially released in 2019, this game re-released this year for free and provided the nerd herd with countless hours of storyline, entertainment, and a new lust for Cameron Mahagan to come to the big screen as Cal Kestis. Honestly, this is one of the most fun I had playing a Star Wars game ever. I really felt part of a Star Wars story in the most truest sense. Like, this could be an episode. I love the storyline that's provided in Force Awakens or Jedi Fallen Order. It just honestly feel like I could hope to continue to see more of it. Cal Kestis is still out there in the universe, and I hope to see more of his character. I think that it could be. They really hit a home run with this one, and it was a great idea to make this game free after offering it for it's been out since 2019. The people that wanted to play it right off the bat got the chance to play it, and giving us a chance to play it for free was a great chance. Kev, I think you got a chance to play Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about this game, and the fact that it was free, at least? I mean, like, as far as a free game goes,
yeah.
How good is this game?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's definitely, and not even just for a free game. I mean, I would have paid $60 for this game.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the better single player campaign driven games that has been released in the past couple years. Even fathom say this decade. And I think it's a game that everyone should play, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not. If you're looking for a game that that is going to have a very well-developed story with writing, and on top of that, some great challenging gameplay, I think this is the one for you. I love that game. It was, like I said, it was one of my favorite games that I played that I can remember. Yeah. Especially during the time I was longing. Yeah. Especially it came during a time I was looking for like a very in-depth single-player game to play.
Right. Little Snell, you watched me play this game, and you got to admit that the little droid companion here is probably one of the best droid companions of all time, right?
Yeah.
I love Tiny Droid Companion so much. He's so good.
Yeah.
I also really love Cameron Monaghan, like in pretty much everything he's in. It was my first time getting to see him in a video game context. Like, I think he is a great pseudo Joker in Gotham. Amazing in
Shameless.
Shit Show.
Shameless.
Thank you. I was gonna say Shit Show, but it's Shameless. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
But I think he's really. This is one I know we live in the Star Wars universe. I would love to take this role to the big screen and play out the Cal storyline, because I think it was incredible, and we got to learn about what are they, the sisters.
Yes.
The Night Sisters.
The Night Sisters are so fucking cool. That is a storyline I want to show up more.
I agree. That's Star Wars lore I can get behind. Like, going stuff that goes like beyond, that's entwined with the Force, that's in between like the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. Like that's stuff. I think that's the kind of the sweet spot for me as far as like sort of spin-off shows from the movies. That would be awesome. Or even movies themselves. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Well, Jedi Fallen Order is comes in at number 5 in my top free games of the year. But 2021 was an amazing year for free games, and 2021 also gave us some awesome multiplayer co-op games, including one that I know, Kev, you've played a hell of a whole lot of, which is Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is an online multiplayer co-op coming out of the Left 4 Dead franchise. It's supposed to be kind of like a sequel, or a in the same spirit of kind of sequel, but a different idea for at least the most part. This game gave us the heebie-jeebies, no lie. This game hit consoles just before Halloween and was scarier than anything that we saw on TV. Kev, I know you played a lot of Back 4 Blood. What makes Back 4 Blood one of the best games, or the best free games that came out in 2021?
Oh man, well, I think so. When I was seeing like clips and stuff of this game, especially when it came out during the beta, I was a little skeptical. I was like, okay, so you're gonna add, like, Left 4 Dead was challenging because the mechanics were kind of rudimentary. Like, you couldn't sprint, you couldn't aim down sights. Well, that kind of went out the window with Back 4 Blood. I'm like, oh, that's not gonna be challenging at all. Boy, was I wrong. This game hits it all in the right spots where it's like cooperative gameplay at its highest, and you need to be communicative and cohesive as a team in order to be successful. Yeah. And I think just the unpredictable nature of the game, the RNG of it, as far as like the looting and the NPCs is done very well. We were playing this game last night and the night before, just trying to get through this campaign. We're not even on Nightmare yet, so I can't even imagine what that shit show is going to look like, right? Oh yeah. So this game is fantastic, and the way that they're adding content to it looks like it's going to be around for a while, which is nice to see. And not only that, even the PvP mode is super fun. We touched on that a little bit yesterday too, with some of the nerd herders. Shout out Sags, Fattest Sax, and Extreme Greatness. And yeah, it's one of my favorite games I've played so far this year.
Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, Back 4 Blood comes in at number 4. Of course, it had to come in at number 4, right? I mean, it's Back 4 Blood. But number 3 on this list is actually a game I played pretty recently. It really just absolutely blew me away, and definitely comes in as a hard third here for the year, which is Century Age of Ashes. The newest addition to our Free Game Friday roster features the prettiest dragons on this side of Mordor and wild aerial combat that will keep you hyper-focused until 4 a.m. This is your only warning. I absolutely adore this game. Savage plays this game a lot with me. We affectionately call it Dragon Murder because it's basically what it is. And it's dogfighting dragons. I played, if you go to my Twitch account, at Roosbane, you can see one of my latest episodes playing. It's just a lot of fun. There's 3 different types of dragons that you can choose from. You got a Wind Guard, you've got a Marauder, and you've got a Shadow. One's more stealthy, one's more supportive and bulky, and the other one's more attack-based. Honestly, I just can't wait to see where this game goes. It's completely free to play, and so it's one of those games that I think really benefits from being free to play because it looks like a lot of fun. It's got a very low cost of entry, and you want to just jump into it. Littlest Nelly, you've watched me play Century Age of Ashes. What do you think about this game, and why do you think it comes in at number 3 on a free game of the year?
I think this game is super, super fun, especially if you like fast-paced games, which, if you know Cozy Corner, I personally don't, but I like watching other people play them. And I think it's got really cool different mechanics, but it doesn't have so many characters that it feels like you get lost in just like choosing how to play. You have characters with key differences that makes you pick and choose the kind of game that you're going to play, and that you can just jump right in and dive into the gameplay instead of getting lost in like The Sims 4 character builder for 7 hours straight.
This is true. This is true.
Been there.
We've all been stuck in The Sims character builder for multiple hours, contemplating what we're doing with our existence.
Yeah.
Well, Century Age of Ashes definitely has a hard contender in there for number 3. But honestly, when you talk about some of the free games of 2021, you got to talk about some of these heavy hitters, and you have to talk about number 2 on the list, which is Halo Infinite. Free with Xbox Game Pass, this first-person shooter dropped a surprise multiplayer mode accessible to PC gamers, inviting players old and new to revisit the classic Halo franchise. Halo is just one of those multiplayer games that if you were a gamer in my generation, it's 9. You got like an 8 out of 10 chance of having played this for way too many hours growing up, and it's super nostalgic. I got a chance to play it with some of the Nerd Herd, Supersonic Flash. Shout out to Sad Gaming as well. And we had a lot of fun. Definitely go check out that episode of Free Game Friday. But it just with how much of an impact that it was, it absolutely deserved a spot on here. Kev, can you help validate why Halo Infinite comes at number 2 in my free game of the year?
Yeah, definitely. I think the past 343 Halos have kind of not necessarily missed the mark, but they haven't felt like Halo games. They've been good games, but they just haven't felt like Halo. I think this game really got around to that. And I remember I was reading articles about that. Even some of the devs that worked on those were kind of having the same kind of thoughts where it's like, it's a good game, but it just doesn't feel like Halo. And I think this kind of gets back to that. And I mean, the multiplayer is always fun. I'm glad they didn't follow the kind of trope of going full battle royale and just kind of just catering to a lot of Call of Duty players. They just wanted to get back to what Halo was. And that's what they definitely did. I definitely think they did that with the multiplayer. But the campaign, which I had been kind of diving deep into recently, I think is fantastic. It's beautifully done. Voice acting is incredible. It's visually stunning, and then not only that, it's an open world Halo game, which I was kind of like confused about, but it worked surprisingly well. It's like it has this nice balance of, granted, you don't have the sort of finish one mission, then you're off to another planet or off to another part of this planet, kind of story. But it's like you kind of dictate what parts of the story you want to, go through first. And the whole sort of plot of the story is basically trying to take control of this Halo ring that you're, for lack of a better word, stranded on. Well, not necessarily stranded on, you have to, yeah. So, but the way they do it is they make it, instead of making it just, a linear story where you progress through levels, the whole Halo ring is, again, just a big sandbox, and I think it's pretty well done.
I'm currently in the middle of a playthrough of Dead Space, so I'm going to finish one Escape from Alien Hell Space in station Lost in Space kind of scenario before starting into another one. But that definitely sounds interesting, like a next one to jump into.
Yeah.
But Halo's just absolute classic. It's as Incubus puts in the chat, Halo Night is a 20-year tradition. So like, it's something that people have been playing for a long time, and I'm glad it's on my PC now. I have access to it. Like, I've been a Sony fanboy forever. But one of the things that you take a hit on as a Sony fanboy is Halo. Like you can't rebuke that, right? Like there's nothing you can do about rebuking the fact, because Halo is like the greatest when it comes to FPSs. And to be able to have that back now on PC is a good feeling, man. Very good feeling, Yeah. But number 1 on the list, we celebrated this Friday. If you didn't get a chance to check it out, you definitely should, which is Pokemon Unite. Pre-Christmas numbers, but Pokemon Unite has over 50 million downloads and is already confirmed for competitive play with a 2022 World Pokemon Championship set with a $1 million prize. This has hands down been one of my favorite games to play all year, and not that I'm already obsessed with Pokemon to begin with, but it's a free-to-play MOBA that welcomes new and experienced players, and this one stands out from the crowd. Honestly, it's been able to really capture. I mean, obviously, I love Pokemon, and I get to choose characters that I'm very familiar with and that I already know and love. But not only that, I get to use at least the little bit of MOBA experience that I know and apply it to something that I already love. I mean, this was just a hand meets glove kind of scenario for me. So it's been a super fun game. Little Snella, you played a lot of Pokemon Unite with me. Why do you think Pokemon Unite makes number 1 free game of the year?
I love Pokemon Unite, and it is my first ever MOBA, having tried to get into other ones before. But maybe I was too late on the game, and people were already way leveled up. It just wasn't fun at that point, or it just didn't feel like a very friendly experience for a newer player. Pokemon Unite is super friendly. I can play it on my Switch, phone. I can play as a variety of different characters with no to very low actual out of pocket. Like, it's very easy for me to get more free expansions. I do not fucks with the $40 skins, but that's okay. Pokemon can have that. But I think it's
they do
super
have $40
fun.
skins.
They do have $40 skins, and I will talk shit about it every opportunity.
Hey, but you know what Pokemon Unite did? It started a conversation about, will people pay $40 for skins? And you know what the answer was? Yes, they will.
Yeah,
I
don't know if that's a good thing, Dad. I think that's like setting a bad. I think it's setting a bad precedent for other game companies. Like, oh, people are paying $40 for skins. Let's mark our prices
skins.
Yeah. We were at a union-friendly point in America where we could all just agree to not do it and just say, okay, if no one does it, price no. Some of y'all are scabs, and you crossed the picket line, and you bought the $40 fucking skins, and now there's 4 of them. There's 4 of them now. Santa Claus Pikachu is $40. Santa Claus Pikachu should be... Every kid deserves a Santa Claus Pikachu. That's $40.
That's my $40. Man. Yeah, that is nuts. That is absolutely nuts.
Man, making Fortnite look great right now. Like,
yeah. Hey, it's okay, guys. It's all going to Tencent in China, so that's going to totally be all right. Anyways, that is about all we got for our free games of the year. Pokemon Unite coming in at a strong number 1. I mean, obviously, if you end the year with being able to be such a competitive game in general, that you can offer a $1 million prize and people are still enticed to do it. I mean, I'm super enticed to do it. I want to get a crew together and get that money. Let's get that money. Come on. I see Big Slim. I see you in chat. Let's go. Let's play some Unite. Let's see if we can get that prize money. All right, Savage. I see you in chat. Oh, Savage is spamming the capitalism bad emote. Yes, capitalism bad. This is how we beat capitalism. We beat capitalism by winning these prize money, and then start. See, Big Slim. Yeah, boom. So let's go. Let's make that money. All right, let's figure it out. There we go. Anyways, that'll do it for our modular segment of our free game of the year. Up next, we have a review. We would be amiss if we didn't talk about Spider-Man No Way Home, absolutely knocking things out of the box office, and honestly knocking the box office into an entirely new state of being, to be completely fair. So without further ado, do the dandy. All right. Spider-Man No Way Home officially released December 17th in 2021 with the second largest opening weekend in history, with $260 million in North American theaters to date, and has garnered $340 million in ticket sales. No other movie in times of COVID has managed to bridge the $100 million threshold, though other Marvel film, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, got close with $90 million. Kev, what are your thoughts on the newest Spider-Man series?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it right before I flew to my mom's for Texas. And I mean the Tom Holland Spider-Mans, they've been out of the 3. I think they've been, especially with this one, they've been the best so far. But they've been just like, I've never, like, if I had to give Far From Home or Homecoming a grade, none of them get higher than an 8. But this one was probably like a top 5 Marvel movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the best movies that Marvel has had out there. I mean,
and it has little to do with them, like the sort of waxing nostalgic or fan service, bringing back Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Like, it was just very well done. I think the problem with, like, for me, like, Spider-Man's always had demons, and his demons have been, does he kind of create his own villainous world, right? Like, is he creating sort of, or is he a consequence out of, like, the evil that plagues New York City or things like that? And the Tom Holland Spider-Mans have always just been kind of quirky and cute and just like, I'm Spider-Man, but here we go. I'm going to give it my best shot, guys. It's It's like kind of the all shucksy Spider-Man, you know, like in my opinion. But this one got kind of dark, and he's never been challenged like this before. I'm not going to give any spoilers away.
Well, no, we got spoilers.
Oh, okay.
Spoiler alert's been cast. Okay, we put a warning on the introduction. We are willing to talk about spoilers. Spoilers away. Let us talk about this.
Aunt May getting clapped up was what Tom Holland needed for Spider-Man to ascend into what the other Spider-Mans had been dealing with, right? Like there's always a Tom Holland really hadn't had that tragedy. Like, I mean, we didn't know, like, Uncle Ben, Uncle Ben anyway, hadn't been around. Itself,
the way they did the Aunt May's death there was. Oh man, that was powerful. Okay, like I could feel it. I had people on every side of me, because like everyone in the audience was going, "Oh, she's not all right. Oh, she's not all right. Oh, no, she's not okay. No, she's not okay." Yeah. And so you had this feeling of kind of like anxiety with it too, as she was dying. But then
the times you're like, "Oh, she's fine. She's okay. She's okay. She's okay. She's okay." And then it gets to the point you're like, "Oh, fuck."
No, I could see like she was like doing like this the whole time, like she was shaking the whole time, really vividly.
I was having a moment, because they built up the anticipation really, really well. The point of maybe she's okay, and then she's not. She's okay. Maybe it'll be kind of fine, and then you pan over to Happy, who's watching her die at the same time, realizing he can't help, and then they do this like comedic break, right? They flip completely over to the other. Which is almost like, to me, is very, very, very well done, to your point, Kev, about like this is the scene that turns Spider-Man into the Spider-Man that we know, who has that tragedy, because at the same time that this Spider-Man is really becoming the Spider-Man that we know, who's dealing with this loss, we reopen the world to these two other Spider-Mans. We get this like comedy part, and then as soon as you have this like moment of relief, you're like, okay, I've public. Immediately you go right back to our Peter Parker, and he is just dealing with this absolute fucking tragedy, and at that moment brought me, like, I went from crying to happy and then immediately crying again. And I saw that movie twice in theaters. I was embarrassing about it both times.
And that's the thing too about it, is like I think what they did well was they really sort of played into the fact that he hadn't had that tragedy yet, right? Like, I mean, his biggest tragedy so far was that Tony Stark died, which was a blow for him, but it wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't Aunt May or the Uncle Ben, right? Like, it wasn't a thing that made Spider-Man the vigilante, right? He was already a vigilante before this. Like, Uncle Ben dying was what made Spider-Man Spider-Man. Like, it's like Bruce Wayne, Thomas, and Martha, right? So I think that was something that had been missing from the other ones, and that just I mean, you just saw it. Like, I think the beautiful thing about Spider-Man as a character is that he has this darkness inside him that he's always like battling and really keeping at bay, right? Like, you saw it, like, even to Tobey Maguire Spider-Man had said that, right? Like, he stopped pulling his punches, right?
Right.
And I think that was something that those two Spider-Mans had been through that Tom Holland hadn't been through, and them bringing those two in at the opportune time that Tom Holland was about to just nuke the world, so to speak. I think was really kind of apropos.
Yeah. No, I think that there's a lot of things that they did really, really well with the Spider-Man series. I think they really put a cap on it. I think every single movie in the series as a franchise really hit home, and then this one really was able to create a movie that not only tied up the Spider-Man series, but all of the Spider-Man universes together, and that was absolutely crazy. A couple of plot holes. Electro. What the fuck? Electro did not know who Peter Parker was. There's no reason why he needed to be brought into the universe. And it even talks about it at the end when he's like, man, you do this, this, and this. I thought Spider-Man would be black. There's got to be a black Spider-Man out there somewhere, which is great. Looking up and kind of making the connection to Miles Morales. But obviously he didn't know who Peter Parker was, right? Yeah, we know that he doesn't know. And so how the hell did he get in there? Love his makeup. Love his blow up, right? He's looking good. He's looking great.
Yeah, his new costume was way better. Just
right with the mask in the front. We have a little bit of it in the chat there. Like the way his electricity flares up into his face makes it look like his mask in the comics. But anywho, it's I love a lot of the things that they did with him. I think that the series, even some of the cheesier parts, like once I watched it again, on the second viewing, like I felt better about the cheesy parts. Like I felt like at first with great power comes great responsibility. The way that they delivered it was very Martha-esque. But when I watched it the second time, I felt very differently about it, right? And so I think that was, I think they hit home. I think it was really good. And I don't know. I can't wait to see what they do with it from here, but I don't know what they do with it from here. Little Estelle, where do you think they go from here with how they ended things?
Oh, I have like an hour's worth of theory, and I'll go over like a brief overview of it now, and I'll probably do like a huge deep dive on Cozy Corner next Monday. But what I think they're going to do is borrow some storylines from the Legion of the Unliving. It touches on a lot of what just happened in No Way Home, and a lot of the confirmed castings that we have for future films, because we're about to go into Mystic Marvel. But one of, I think, the most confusing things is they've already filmed for it, the Multiverse of Madness, right? Tom Holland has said that he wants to take a break from the role of Spider-Man. I have a feeling that Multiverse of Madness is going to set up to be the absolute last that we see of Tom Holland. I don't think that this will necessarily be the last. I think.
You think what?
I think that Tom Holland's already filmed for Multiverse of Madness, and I don't think we've seen the last of him. I think that film will set up the last of Tom Holland's Spider-Man as we know it, though. I don't think that they'd leave it just quite like that. I think we're going to get at least a touch. Not a full-blown storyline, maybe, but at least a touch. Especially based on what I know about Legion of the Living, if they do decide to go that route. Legion of the Unliving is also how they tie in... not Mephisto. I always want to say Mephisto, but from WandaVision, the one that we think is the big bad there, the devil type character. But it also is Mephisto. Thank you. What was it? I was saying Maestro earlier. I don't know why I was saying Maestro, but Mephisto. It also ties in a storyline with Vision. And his body being used to cover for Human Torch, which we already know has been a confirmed cast. So I'm really excited. It also brings in which we know that we're going to get. So it's got a lot of options there, and I hope that that's the storyline that they go in. Mystic Marvel.
How do you think William Dafoe's performance in this piece, Kev? What are your thoughts there?
First let me just say I think it was fantastic. I think he did a great job. I think Green Goblin is one of the most underrated villains. Let alone.
I don't think he's underrated.
I think he is.
I think he's appropriately rated. I think he's one of the greatest. There was a Joker.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at too. There was a Twitter sort of debate going on at who was getting the best bars off. It was between Bane, Thanos, and Green Goblin, and there was a lot of people not mentioning Green Goblin. And I get it, measuring up to those two, it's hard. But I think the fact that he even deserves to be in the conversation, I think is an accomplishment itself, right? Like there's a lot of depth to the Green Goblin, especially the way that Willem Dafoe portrays it. And I think he really carried it well through this. He kind of did the same thing to Tom Holland Peter Parker that he did to Tobey Maguire Peter Parker, right? Really challenging the validity of his heroicness, and then saying, just making him, trying to help him see himself for what he is and what he could become. And ultimately, that's him like having Aunt May to meet her demise was his way of doing that, or trying to do that, and he almost did. If it weren't for the other two Spider-Men that had been through that same thing, Tom Holland might have went down a different path, or Peter Parker.
Who do you think was the strongest villain in this performance, Little Snelly?
Oh, that's hard because you just said Willem Dafoe, and I love him so much. Um, how do I answer one that isn't Willem Dafoe? The answer is Willem Dafoe. The answer, yeah.
The answer is
Green
William Dafoe,
Goblin.
then the answer is William Dafoe.
Yeah. One of my favorite tie-ins, and I saw this on Reddit, and one of the things that Aunt May said to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is that we don't get to decide who lives and dies, regardless of if they're the bad guy. It's the conversation that they're having, and that was really a full tie-in for when Tobey Maguire stops Tom Holland's Peter Parker from killing the Green Goblin. That like that's not their role. That's not the decision that they get to make. And it made me cry all over again, there on Reddit, like a sucker.
Yep. Any performances really surprise you? I feel like there's some really easily forgettable villains here because the cast was so overdone. Like, I don't think you really needed the Sandman. I don't think you really needed Lizard. It was nice to have them because it made it more of like all these villains were coming out and there was this big threat of multiple people. But I don't think they really fleshed much of anything out. I think Electro did at least a little bit, but we don't even really understand why he was there. Am I the only one that feels this way? Kev?
Yeah, I think so. Well, yes and no. I think they could have, maybe they needed other villains to sort of, right? Because, the Amazing Spider-Man didn't have, outside of the Lizard Man and Electro and Hobgoblin, that was it. So they needed someone from his rogues gallery. So I think, having Lizard Man and Electro there kind of helped. And then you had maybe Sandman wasn't completely necessary.
Yeah.
I feel like his role wasn't really that significant. Maybe they just wanted kind of like a neutral villain where like Sandman's whole deal isn't really like he's trying to be villainous. He's like kind of the Mr. Freeze angle, right? Like he's just trying to
see his daughter.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that was probably the case behind it. Maybe they in to sort of balance that out, they needed someone who was more egotistical, I guess, in the lines of like narcissistic, I guess, in a way of like Electro was, and then you had someone who was just who had I guess schizophrenic for lack of better words, and Hobgoblin. So I think they were trying to get the full spectrum of villain personalities on there.
Yeah. It may have kind of like fleshed it out and given more of a spectrum and given some stuff to kind of bounce off of. Lilith Nelly, do you think that was the case? Do you think that there are some villains that they could have not had here?
I think that they could have not had it for the sake of the film, but I do think some of these were added in for the sake of marketing. Yes. I think that they really did not want what was happening, like a Sinister Six kind of tease, and they got pretty close to it. I was pleasantly surprised by Doc Ock, and his not my favorite. I didn't think that great. It felt a little bit one note to me, and this one really brought in a full circle of what he was doing and why he was doing it. I thought was really cool. So, yeah.
All right. I think any final thoughts on this? What do you guys give Spider-Man No Way Home? If you have to rate it out of, let's just give it out of 5. I'm gonna put it up there with like a 4.75 because I don't think it's a perfect 10. I think that there's a couple of marks off there, but I think this is an absolute classic movie. I think this is one that we're going to remember. I think this is one that you're going to want to pull off the shelves and watch again, over and over and over again. And I think they're more mysterious. Like one of the other things we didn't get to talk about is Doctor Strange, right? Do you think that this was how did you feel about this kind of movement in Marvel? Oh, we got two things. First off, the Matt Murdock surprise there, right? We had that happening with also at the same time that we saw Kingpin entering in Hawkeye, right? So it kind of felt like this Marvel announcement was kind of being pushed on us all at once, and we were kind of the universe was kind of happening. And there's kind of part of like an event that we were going through. I was talking with Little Nelly about this. Do you guys feel the same way? And are you guys excited to see that? Let us know. Let's start with you.
Disney has so much money.
Yeah,
Disney
really.
has so much money. I felt pretty good about it. I will say one thing they had to really bring it full circle was showing like Peter Parker alone at the end of the Hawkeye credit, because like that wouldn't be a spoiler. It would just be him watching the thing, and then like it would still be a cool tie-in. But I liked that it felt like a whole event. I mean, we've said it before, but like Marvel is building a universe in a way that seen. The tie-ins that it has to all these different subjects of media is just really like truly incredible in the way that they're doing it. Being in, and I kind of felt spoiled because we watched, and the way that the audience reacted was so incredible when Matt came out. Like everyone gasped and cheered, and throughout the whole, it was kind of weird. Then
we watched at the Alamo.
Yeah, we watched at the Alamo, and the crowd was just like super, in a way that I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the next biggest, or Endgame or something. But you don't ever see that with another movie and another.
No.
So it was really awesome.
Right. It was a lot of fun. So what would be your final score if you're gonna give it anything, Willis Nelly?
I'm gonna say 4.5, with the knowledge that I tend to rate Marvel movies higher after I've seen the way that they impact other Marvel movies. Yeah. My look back typically raises a couple notches, so we'll see.
Kev, what about you? How do you feel? What do you rate this movie?
I give it the same as Nelly. I give it a 4.5.
4.5? Yeah. I think that honestly this is up there with like Infinity War. Like I think this is really on that level of crossover, and to be able to do that with one franchise I think is really powerful. So it was a lot of fun, and I am glad that we got it. Glad that we got the Into the Spider-Verse live action that we all wanted to happen. I mean, the fans have been screaming for it for a while, and we really, really did get it. I feel like this was kind of willed into fruition, So we'll see what happens here with Spider-Man for there. But yeah, that will wrap it up for the first half of the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us. Big shout outs to Big Slim, Savage Patch Kid, Geek Life, Caper Doodle, everybody chilling with us in chat tonight. And remember, this stream is sponsored to you by Swift Lifestyles. You can use code GETGEEKED for 15% off your purchase at swiftlifestyles.com for all kinds of cool stuff. We got hydration powders, you got energy drinks, you got shakers, swag, all kinds of cool stuff. Go check out swiftlifestyles.com. If you're looking for more of our content, check out our link in our bio. And we will catch you guys on the other side of the break. Don't stick around, definitely, because we got plenty more to talk about. We're going to be talking about the great demographic demolition, where we're seeing a breakdown of demographics, mostly talked about what's happening here with the success of Spider-Man No Way Home, and what the significance of Spider-Man No Way Home's success means for a lot of different movies that didn't succeed. And then we're going to be finishing off tonight's show with the top 10 favorite movie franchises of all time. So a lot of cool stuff to come. Don't go anywhere. There's plenty more Geek Life to come, and we will see you guys in 10. Peace.